Today Baba says that you must marvel at the wonder that you are. And Baba always says that you must wonder at how wonderful Baba is. Vaha Baba Vaha. Then Vaha Drama Vaha. How wonderful is the drama. Then Vahare Me Vaha. And then Vaha Mera Bhagya Vaha. So my fortune is also wonderful. And I am wonderful. And many years back, I met one sister, and she was surrendered in Seva. She was living in a center for about, I think, 2 years. Very young, she was very young at that time, but the kind of enthusiasm and dedication and surrender she had, that was something that very extraordinary. And then I asked her, what practice do you do? So you're always full of zeal and enthusiasm, and you are always, so do you churn on the murli? What do you do? So then she told me something very nice. She said, when I came to Gyan, then my senior sister, she told me, har baat mein wonder khao. Just marvel at everything. And she said, I do exactly that. I keep marveling at everything. And I found that very interesting. And if there was some damage, some loss, something, something fell down, it broke, she would just laugh at that time. And she would say, how amazing, this happens every 5,000 years. And this was very interesting. And she would always keep getting amazed and, having wonder at everything. And this is something that I appreciated in her a lot. And this is what Baba always says, one way to keep dancing with your mind and body all the time is to be just amazed at who you are. And when I came into Gyan, I used to think that we are all the same. So every soul is the same. Every soul can do whatever they want. But I really realized slowly, gradually that no, we are very amazing. And we are those children who recognize Baba. And not every soul can recognize Baba. Not every soul can recognize the importance of knowledge and yoga. Not every soul appreciates the importance of purity and seva. And slowly, gradually, I started realizing there is something very unique about, Brahmin souls. And Brahmin souls, and I'll just share one incident with you. Once, after coming to Gyan, I had been to one place of pilgrimage in Bhakti, and when we went there was this whole drain flowing on the path to that pilgrimage, and it was all dirty water, and everybody was just stepping on that and going to the temple, and it was a very disturbing sight. And people didn't even think that I cannot take this feet and go inside the temple. So it was, and when I could not step on that, so I did not. So then I asked somebody, is there a provision to clean your feet once you reach there? They said, no, there's no provision. So I said, will we go like this and just enter the temple premises? He said, yes, that's how everybody is doing it. And it was so ghastly to even think about that. And I couldn't think about that. But people were doing that, and it was so mindless that everybody was doing it mindlessly. And at that time, I thought, if somebody cannot discern between clean and dirty, how will that person distinguish between pure and impure? And then I realized that, we are not ordinary souls. We are not ordinary. And as I move day by day, I really realized that there is something very unique about Brahmin souls. And we are the souls who understand what Baba says. And we are the souls who do what Baba says. And we are the souls who understand who understand the responsibility that you have on your shoulders to make this a pure world. And keeping yourself in purity, because you know that that's how the pure world will be created, is something that we understand. And we understand that you have to sow the seeds for a pure world. So these are the things that really get me thinking about the fact that I am wonderful. And when you think about these things, you think about the fortune that you have, and then that you are the one receiving Baba's sustenance. And there is nothing to be proud of, because that's your part. If it was not your part, what could you do about it? You could do nothing about it. If you didn't have this sense also, could you help it? You could do nothing about it. But it's just my part that I am who I am. And I remember, there was this one incident where Mohini Didiji from the US, she was taking a class, and she asked, there was a whole sabha of Brahmins, and she asked one very interesting question. She asked, why do you think Baba chooses you? So we were very proud, and we said, we have this quality and that quality and the other quality. And then she said, no, Baba chooses you because he doesn't have any other choice. You are the ones predestined to be chosen every cycle. And then I realized that yes, it is not me, it is my part that is wonderful. And it is just who we are. And but you cannot take pride in it, you cannot take ownership of it, but you can of course marvel at it and get happy about it, that you are this soul that you are. And Baba says that, and when you understand this, you also have a lot of compassion for those who don't have this part, and you want to give them whatever you have and do your best to support them in whatever way you can. So Baba says that just marvel at the fact of who you are, and you are this Brahmin, you are the one who becomes Baba's right hand, you are the ones who understands the law of how one karma can give you multi-million times of fortune. Do you understand? Baba says, just by remembrance you earn so much. By doing spiritual seva, you earn such a big position for yourself for 21 births. And the interesting thing is, Baba says this to everybody, but you are the one who gets it. And when you get it, when it sits in your intellect, only then can you create your fortune. So this is the wonder that we are. And then obviously when you have this Sangam Yugi fortune, then you can be sure that you are the one who will rule as a deity, and then you are the one who everybody is worshipping in the temple. So Baba says, just marvel at this, and when you just think about this wonder that you are, you will dance in happiness, the body and the mind both. So this is one thing that Baba says. And then Baba today says that who becomes worship worthy? The one who does elevated karma, elevated actions, and the one who is pure, that one becomes worship worthy. And Baba says we are worship worthy souls because we perform elevated actions. And you see, what is an elevated action? So I was just thinking about this thing a lot, and you see, up until now, up until we come to Baba and we really start understanding what he says, all our actions are reactions. Yes, we think that an action is always done in a context, and that context has got something to do with the action. Yes, so you don't separate the context and the action. Okay, so if I am with somebody, then I would say that my act of talking is my act of talking to him or her. Yes, so I am doing this action of talking in the context of the presence of that person. Yes, so I may talk nicely, I may talk badly, but I do not separate my action from the context. Yes, but when Baba comes, Baba says, your action is completely independent of the context. Yes, I'll give you one example. So you see, when the seva started, okay, so at that time, of course, nobody comes to the center in the beginning, so it's empty and it's an empty class and there's nobody to listen to the murli. Then you know what we used to do? Santosh Bhai used to read the murli he used to read the murli like the class is full, and I used to listen to it. And one day I would read the murli and he would sit and we would think like the class is full and take the murli. And there were times when one of us was also absent. So then also we conducted the class in the same manner. So nobody is sitting, but I'm reading the murli like the class is full. And you know, that is an elevated action where you are not reading the murli for somebody, you're just reading the murli. And similarly, you know, when you think about elevated actions do not depend on who is receiving it. And you see, Mansa Seva is elevated action. Why do we do Mansa Seva? Why do we do spiritual Seva? You know, even spiritual Seva, whatever you do, you see, we are taking classes, we are doing yoga, we are sending vibrations. Can you see any result? So once in a while you get a result, okay? Once in a while you get a glimpse of, yes, this is working. But not all the time. You don't get a result and you cannot see the result. But you know that this is the action that is elevated because Baba tells us. And elevated action is based on knowledge of actions. So when Baba gives us the knowledge, see, Shrimat is the basis for Sresht Karma. So whatever you do on Shrimat is elevated action. Whether you see the result, don't see the result, you know that this is elevated action and you keep doing it and ultimately see the result. And you know, there was one one time there was this one brother, and he asked me that when we do Mansa Seva, how do I know that somebody is getting it or somebody is receiving some benefit out of it? So I said, no, you can't know that. So he said, but I should know. So I said, then it won't be elevated action. If you're doing it because you're seeing the result, then that's not altruistic or elevated. When you're doing it just because Baba says it, that's altruistic. Because when you see some result, then everybody does it. Yes, but when you have faith in Baba, when you have faith in knowledge and you do it, then that's elevated action. And yes, you will sometimes get a glimpse of how this works, and sometimes Baba will give you a peek into it, but that shouldn't be the basis of your action. The basis of your action is Baba said this is elevated, so you do it. I'll give you one example. There was this one sister, and one time I had to have a phone call with her, okay, and then I had to give her some directions about some seva, and at that time I was very occupied with some things, and after that I was very tired. So when I was tired, I just had this thought, let me not have the call today. And then immediately she wrote me a message, Didi, let's not connect today, let's connect tomorrow. And then, after some 5 minutes, I thought, no, this is important. And, if I don't give directions today, then time will pass and that seva won't be happening. And then I sent her a message, we'll connect today. And then she also immediately, because we were typing at the same time, she also sent a message that Didi, we should connect today anyhow, because then time will lapse. And then I realized that, how powerful is your thought. So the moment you think about cancelling, the other soul is also getting that thought. And the moment you think about not cancelling, then the other soul is also having that thought. But these are very rare instances, when you come to know. It is happening all the time, but you don't come to know all the time. But because we were communicating over phone, we could get that. So similarly, Baba says that, you must believe that everything that Baba says, you churning on knowledge, you staying pure. Do you understand the value of purity? Do you understand the value of a soul who stays pure in Sangam Yuga? That's very big, that's huge. And you see, Baba says that this purity is going to purify the whole world. But do we understand that staying pure is such an elevated action? Yes, just not doing what everybody does is an elevated act. And Baba says, do you understand that doing seva, mansa, vacha, karmana, tan, man, dhan, whatever you're doing, whether you understand it, not understand it, it is creating that momentum. Do you understand that for this world to change, you will need two powerful forces to collide, the force of negativity and the force of positivity. And that force of positivity is being created by us, and it is increasing in momentum, and only when there is collision, then the world will change. And after that you will see the Satyug that comes. And in some glimpses you will see some results, but not always. But this elevated action is Shresht Karm done on Shrimat. Whatever Baba gives directions for, you do it, that is elevated action. And when you do elevated actions, you become worship worthy. And Baba today points out 3 elevated actions. purity of mind, purity of speech, purity of action. Baba says, keep your mind clean, come watch me. Yes, this is Baba's direction. Whatever anybody does, says, whatever is happening, you keep your mind clean. That's elevated action. This is Baba's direction, which is making the world pure. Keep your words elevated. Keep your words, full of blessings. Keep your actions pure. You do not have to worry about the context. You do not have to, because all our positive actions are also reactions. What is a reaction? A reaction is something that you do in the context of a setting or another person's actions. So when people do good, that is also a reaction to somebody doing good. When people do bad, that's also a reaction to somebody doing bad or something happening. But Baba says, make your actions free from the context. Just do actions on my direction. That is elevated action. So whatever you do is just based on Baba's Srimad. It doesn't depend, it's not positive because the setting is positive. You are not talking sweetly because somebody is sweet to you. You are talking sweetly because that's Baba's direction. Doesn't matter whether somebody is sweet or bitter or whatever. Okay. So Baba says this will make you worship worthy. So this is about elevated actions. And then today Baba gives us many directions about remembrance, seva, and Baba also says that, so Baba says you have to remember Baba. Baba says you have to praise, tell everybody Baba's praise. And then you have to also give importance to what Baba says. These are the three things that Baba underlines, and then of course purity and seva Baba underlines. So first thing that Baba says is, you must remember me in all the three relationships. So Baba says, you understand the importance of remembrance, you remember me, but do you remember me as the father, teacher, Satguru, all three relationships all the time? Baba says, while walking, talking, eating, do you always remember me in all the three relationships? So do we do that? Yes, because when you remember Baba, you remember the inheritance. When you remember the teacher, you remember the teachings. And when you remember the Satguru, you remember that you don't have to be attached because you have to go back home. So Baba says, if you want vairagya, knowledgeful actions, and spiritual intoxication to be part of your personality all the time, then you have to remember me in all these three relationships all the time. I will give you one example. So, when you don't remember the teachings, then you cannot do accurate action. When you don't remember Baba the teacher, then your actions become inaccurate. And I'll tell you one incident. There's one brother, he's a BK, and he got transferred from some place to other in the office, and he has parents who are very old and they need care, and so he became so desperate when he got that transfer letter. He went and begged and pleaded before the officer, and after that he felt really bad about it, and then he came and confessed it. And he said, Didi, I feel very bad that I begged and pleaded, and so I told him that you must never do desperate action. And when you become desperate, when you forget the drama, sometimes you become so fixated with what you want that you don't understand that you have to accept whatever is there in the drama. And what is effort? You put in effort where there is a hope. But where there is no hope and you're trying too hard, that's called desperate. Yes, and people, when they are very attached to what they want, they do desperate actions. So Baba teaches us when to make effort, when to let go. And if you are lazy, you will not make effort. If you're egoistic, sometimes you will not make the right effort. But if you are very desperate, then you will do things which you will regret later. You will not be able to let go at the right time. And when you don't let go, when it's time to let go, then whatever extra you do in that situation, you regret badly after that. Whether it's with people, with jobs, with whatever. And Baba says that how do you come to this state where you understand that you are a Brahmin, but you also understand that this is the time of settlement. So you understand that you have to make efforts, but you always understand that make efforts being in your line of Maryada. Begging and pleading is not what BKs do. We don't beg and plead. Yes, we are polite, we are respectful, but we never beg and plead. So Baba says that, you have to remember the father, teacher and Satguru all the time. And I think personally that letting go is a very big art that you have to learn. And the more you understand that, this is where, so the more you become skilled at churning the cycle, you come to know exactly when to let go and when to make effort. And when you are pure, you make accurate effort and let go at the right time. And when there is any vice, you either don't make effort. So let's say you can save a relationship by just making a polite phone call. But you don't do that if you're in too much ego. But so that is when your lack of effort spoils the relationship. But when you are desperate in a relationship, then you will beg and plead, and then that other person, other soul will again drift more and more away. And that is the time when you had to let go, but you didn't let go. So Baba says that you must understand that you are a deity, you are a worship-worthy soul, you are the child of Baba. So everything is possible, but it is possible when you stay in your Maryada and do things. And you do things accurately and you have patience. Yes, but if you want something very badly, then you are neither pure nor godly nor divine, then how will things come your way? And this is why, knowing Baba, knowing effort, knowing drama, knowing how to let go, these are the things that the teacher is teaching you. And if you don't remember these things, so Baba says, always remember, the cycle. You remember that you are a deity, you remember that you are Baba's child, and you also remember that this is the time of karmic settlement. And you remember both these things so that you make the best effort, but you also know that this is the time for karmic settlement. So when your karmic account is over, it will go away. So then these are the things that Baba teaches us. So you have to keep the teacher in your awareness. You have to keep Baba in. Can you imagine somebody's life when they don't have a Baba, teacher and Satguru? Yes. So not having Baba is the life of an orphan. And you see, these days people have both parents, but they are living the life of an orphan. Yes. And an orphan's life, what is the life of an orphan? And a life of an orphan is a life of worry, a life of irresponsibility. Because A, you think you're not answerable to anybody. B, you think who is there to take care of me? So there's a lot of worry about your future. But Baba says, when you remember the Father, you have responsibility towards your actions because you're answerable. And you also have, you're carefree because you understand that Baba is there. I will do my best and leave the rest, and he will do the rest. So this kind of a life, if you want to lead a carefree life with responsible actions, that's what happens when you have Baba. And Baba says, I am the father, teacher, Sadguru, because no parent today is able to ensure this carefree life or, a responsible life for children. And so there is some aberration or the other. And you need to remember the teacher. You also need to remember the Satguru, who is always telling you that it's time to go back and just, pack your bag and baggage. So every time you are all through the day, you act and then you become completely detached. Because you know that you have to perform knowledgeable actions, but not get caught in that also. Sometimes you do accurate action and get caught in that also. Because you become so happy about it or so proud about it. But Baba says, no, you have to go back. So keep packing up all the time. So Baba says, remember Father, teacher and Satguru all the time. And then Baba says, tell everybody Baba's praise. Because you see, if people don't know Baba, they don't have a Baba teacher Satguru, they don't have access to the purifier. Baba says people are holding conferences about how to establish peace. But how can you do that without the Father? And I gave you one example one day. There's one sister and she's a PhD scholar in a very renowned university. And I asked her, what is your topic? So she said, conflict resolution. So I said, and have you resolved your inner conflicts? So she said, no. So those cannot be resolved. So I said, then how do you think you will resolve the conflict of the world? Then she said, no, I'm just studying the conflict of the world. So I said, so you are by studying and thinking about it, you are increasing the vibration of that. So she said, so then I said, your topic should be conflict creation, not conflict resolution. So you're not doing that. So then she said, I don't really understand what you're trying to say. So then I told her, you have to do the course for that. You will not understand it just like that. So you see that when you don't understand Baba, you don't understand peace, you don't understand that without connecting to the ocean of peace, you cannot be peaceful. How can you make peaceful? So Baba says you have to tell everybody these things and you have to give the introduction of the ocean of peace, because without him there can be no peace. You have to give the introduction of the purifier. And Baba says, and also Baba says today that, I am the one who tells you that you were the original deities and then you have come around the cycle and become this. So without knowing that, people don't have spiritual power also. So Baba says, A, you have to remember me accurately. B, praise me so that every soul comes to recognize me and connects with me. And C, Baba says, also pay attention to what I say. So don't ignore the Murli. Baba says some children become so arrogant that they don't pay attention to the Murli. And Baba says, just remembering Baba will not help. You also have to listen to what he says. And in that, Baba gives a very interesting example. Baba says, a mice found a piece of turmeric and he thought that I have become a grocer. Because, sometimes children get little knowledge and then they think I have understood everything. So Baba gives this example and says, don't fall into that trap. Okay, Om Shanti.